Can I say something before that?
Sure. Rebuttal.
Thank you. No, it's not a rebuttal actually. You caught a big error which I made. Actually, my project requires that I send you links to the information and more information after the presentation, which I'm planning to do, but I missed to actually tell you, and that way I'm not going to keep your attention basically and expectation to receive the email. So thank you, Alan. I will make sure that in the future in my presentations I never miss to do that. Great point.
All right. Okay, I saw a bunch of hands. Jim? Were you?
The whole body's up.
Oh, whole body.
Get the head.
Ready.
I'll preface my remarks by the fact that I was in and out of my evaluation, but when I looked up a couple of times, let me just tell you what I saw here. You talked about a lot of data being captured, and I liked your analogy about the haystack and finding this little piece of data in the haystack. But my question is, what data were you finding? I mean, you were looking at this big haystack, and you got a piece of data. I wanted to understand what it was that people thought was so important with this little piece. And then, of course, my other question was, so what about all the other data? Is it just not relevant? Is it a waste of time? Whatever. I found your slides to be a little distracting in the sense that I had to look like this in order to be able to read them. And a couple of the slides I thought just had too much information, and the print was so small that I couldn't really understand what was going on with some of the graphs. I know that you sent us emails and told us about a survey that you had made, but that didn't really come out in my mind. I didn't hear that your last chart was about the results of the survey that you had asked all the members. So many people like this, so many thought it was lame and so forth. So be able to bridge that kind of a message to your information, I think would help us better understand what the charts were.
One at the back there.
Yeah, hi friends, I'm actually, I'm Sijit. Just a guest to the club and I'm attending this first time. So I hope I have your permission for me to give you some inputs actually.
Absolutely.
So first I want that before I give it to you. First thing I noticed was that you didn't put us to sleep. You put us to wake up and listen to you. Because as somebody who listens to this kind of technical speeches regularly, I find that only the technical people are always interested. Other people would have slept half the way. But you have really put the effort to make us really fully engaged in the presentation, which really good, a wonderful job. One thing I thought would be valuable was that the references, like how do you got all this information you put up? Like first thing, like you mentioned that professionally it goes to the LinkedIn, and second you mentioned they go to the Facebook. But for me, my assumption was that second is always Twitter, not the not the Facebook. So I was kind of looking like from where did this information you got it. So maybe upcoming some future presentation that would have been added good. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you for sharing.
This is a pet peeve of mine with PowerPoint, it's like, the power is in the point, not the PowerPoint. So when you have the slide up, it would be nice if you can have the point somewhere there, because I know you made the point verbally, but you have all the data, as Jim said, all the data is there, but the point would help us.
Okay. Yeah.
I felt like you gave us a lot of good information, but there was a question in my head as to why you were presenting it to us. So maybe making the case at the very beginning of the value. Were you talking to us because we wanted to be future executives? Were you telling them? In terms of the other thing I noticed was that you had this theme. You could have made that bridge between the two of them a little bit better, because I wasn't sure if I was a little confused by the term crowdsourcing And in terms of organization, I would go into Gaga and then you go into, you know, the other statistics. That's it.
I have very minor observation for all the speakers who are using PowerPoint presentations. Having that one in the middle would help to see on both sides. The same case if you have close this one.
Okay.
Points earlier. But anyway, two things that I noticed when on your slides, you presented a good data and comparison of different sites and stuff. But I think one thing which was missing, which as to what is your total data size, which can give some perspective that once you're presenting some statistical information, how reliable it is. I was kind of confused whether you're surveying 5 people or 500, 5,000, what is the data size? So that was, you know, something important. And I really liked your last slide where you gave the information saying that based on, I kind of guess that it's based on the survey that you did amongst us, and you say, okay, most of us are closer to executives than the crowd on the Facebook, which was a good information or analytical information that we extracted from the survey. But then I would have rather liked that you make it a little surprising or put in a surprise factor there by asking, okay, what do you feel that we are closer to? More like a Facebook crowd or a LinkedIn? And then raise some hands and get people involved and then disclose the survey result. That would have a better impact. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I also was a little tilting. The first one with Lady Gaga was cool because I was like, oh, that is creative. And then after a while, when there was starting to be text on it, I so something to keep in mind, I guess. Maybe depends how big the screen is and that kind of stuff.
Over here I was kind of...
It worked out perfectly because you had to read it anyway.
Tilt the screen.